Sometimes, the monster you fear most doesn't break into your home. He moves right next door. She thought he was kind, attentive, everything her husband had stopped being. But she didn't know the man next door wasn't real. He was part of something darker than her worst nightmares. This is the story of Martha Sanders, a wife, a mother, and the woman who fell in love with her own destruction. Martha Sanders was 38. A nurse. A wife. A woman who smiled on the outside but felt hollow inside. Her husband, Tom, worked long hours as an architect. He was good, loyal, but distant. Their love had faded into routine. Dinner was silent. Nights were colder. Her teenage daughter was away at college. The house was too quiet, too empty. One evening, as Martha watered her front lawn, a new neighbor pulled into the driveway next door. A black SUV. Tinted windows. The man who stepped out was Lucas Novak, tall, dark-haired, with an accent that danced between European charm and mystery. He smiled. "Hi there, neighbor." Something about his voice made Martha's heart skip, warmth she hadn't felt in years. It started innocently. Coffee on the porch. Friendly chats. Lucas said he was a tech consultant from Prague. He had just moved to the US for business opportunities. He lived alone, always dressed neatly, and spoke with a confidence that felt magnetic. Martha found herself laughing again. Tom noticed her mood lift but didn't ask why. Then came the text messages. First, a thank you for the cookies she baked. Then, late-night conversations about life, dreams, and what-ifs. By the end of the week, Lucas's charm had wrapped around her like silk. He said things Tom hadn't said in years. "You're beautiful when you smile. You deserve someone who listens. I wish I'd met you earlier." Martha blushed like a teenager again. But beneath Lucas's calm voice and poetic words, someone else was watching. In another country, behind a glowing laptop screen, 3 men monitored everything. Martha's messages. Her photos. Her emotions. Lucas wasn't real. He was a mask, part of a global romance scam syndicate, run by cybercriminals in Lagos, Istanbul, and Prague. Their job, find lonely hearts, feed them love, then feed off their bank accounts. And Martha? She was their next prize. One rainy night, Tom went on a business trip. Martha sat at home, restless. A message popped up. "Lucas, you shouldn't be alone tonight." She hesitated. Then, she replied, "Martha, I could say the same for you." Minutes later, there was a soft knock on her door. When she opened it, Lucas was standing there, soaked from the rain. He looked at her like she was the only woman in the world. What happened next was what she later described to police as a mistake I can't take back. But in that moment, under the storm and candlelight, it felt like salvation. From that night on, Martha lived 2 lives. Daytime nurse. Nighttime lover. She told herself it was harmless. No one had to know. But her phone began ringing at odd hours. Blocked numbers. Whispered voices. A shadow often lingered near Lucas's house, and sometimes she thought she saw someone else inside, watching through the curtains. A week later, a letter appeared in Martha's mailbox. No return address. Just one line written in black ink. "You don't know who he is." Martha's blood ran cold. She rushed to Lucas's house, but when she knocked, no one answered. The windows were dark. The curtains drawn. She texted him all night. No reply. The next morning, Lucas returned her call, his voice calm, gentle. "Don't worry, darling. Some jealous person must be trying to scare you." She wanted to believe him, but something in his tone was rehearsed. That night, as she stood by her bedroom window, she saw him again, but this time, Lucas wasn't alone. There were 2 men standing behind him inside the house. She could barely make out their faces. One turned toward the window and smiled. Days passed. Lucas began to ask questions about her job, her savings, how much she trusted Tom. He said his business deal overseas had fallen through. He needed help moving some money from his European account, just a short-term favor. Martha hesitated, but she'd fallen too far to think clearly. She wired him $15,000, then $30,000, then another $20,000. When Tom asked about missing funds, she lied, claiming it was a home renovation project. But the truth was darker. She was funding her own destruction. Then, one day, Lucas vanished. His phone disconnected. His house emptied overnight. Everything gone. But the same night he disappeared, Martha heard her front door creak open at 2 a.m. She tiptoed downstairs, heart pounding. The door was unlocked. Her living room window wide open. And on the couch lay a red rose, fresh and wet. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You were never his only one. And if you're hooked already, hit that like button. Subscribe because what comes next will leave you breathless. Lucas sits bound to a metal chair. His shirt is torn, face bruised, blood dripping from his lip. He stares into the camera. Martha, don't trust anyone. There. A loud slap cuts him off. A voice, distorted and deep, whispers, she'll know soon enough. The screen goes black. Martha drops her phone. Her hands tremble. Her heart races like a trapped animal. Was Lucas being punished? Was this some kind of warning? Or worse, was it all another lie? The next morning, Martha drives to the police station. Detective Ronald Green, mid-40s, graying temples and sharp eyes, listens quietly as she describes everything. The affair, the money transfers, the video. He leans back in his chair. Mrs. Sanders. Lucas Novak doesn't exist. The identity is part of an international scam network. These people use stolen photos, fake passports, and deepfake videos to manipulate victims. Martha shakes her head. No. I met him. I touched him. He was real. Green sighs. Ma'am, they use local operatives to make contact, real people who work for them. Sometimes even neighbors. Her blood turns to ice. A local operative. Could Lucas have been living right beside her as part of this syndicate? That night, the house feels heavier. Tom still doesn't know the truth about the affair or the missing money. Martha sits on her bed, guilt gnawing through her chest like acid. Suddenly, a clang from outside. She freezes. Slowly parts the curtain. Across the street, a black SUV idles with its headlights off. Then, movement. A figure steps out. Hooded. Tall. The same build as Lucas. Martha. The whisper echoes from outside her window. She gasps and backs away. When she looks again, the SUV is gone. The next morning, Tom confronts her. He's holding her phone. Who's Lucas? Her world shatters in an instant. Tears spill before words do. She confesses everything. The affair. The money. The lies. Tom stands in silence, his face a mix of anger and disbelief. You brought this into our home. He storms out, slamming the door. Martha falls to her knees. Her marriage is over. Her savings are gone. And her mind, unraveling. But in the midst of her despair, her phone buzzes again. Unknown number. He told you not to trust anyone. That includes your husband. Her eyes widen. Who are you? She types. The reply chills her to the bone. The people who own you now. Within hours, her email is flooded with strange logins. Her phone camera flickers. Her laptop turns on by itself. They're watching her. Videos of her and Lucas, intimate, private moments, begin appearing in an online folder with her name. A message pops up on her screen. Wire $50,000, or your husband and the world will see everything. Her hands tremble uncontrollably. She calls Detective Green. He arrives minutes later, his tone grim. They're blackmailing you. It's a tactic to drain the last drop from their victims. "Can you stop them?" she pleads. "We'll try." But these groups operate across continents, shell companies, fake accounts. It's like chasing shadows. She hesitates, then answers. Lucas appears on screen. His face looks different now, colder, darker. "You should have listened, Martha," he says. "Now it's too late." Tears stream down her cheeks. "Why are you doing this? I loved you." He chuckles. "That's exactly why." Then he adds, "You'll help us one more time, or your husband dies." Before she can respond, the video cuts off, replaced by a live feed of her driveway. Tom's car pulling in. A man in a hood walking toward it. Martha screams and rushes outside. But when she opens the door, no one's there. Just an envelope on her porch. Inside, a flash drive. And a single note. "Play it. Alone." That night, she inserts the flash drive into her laptop. A video begins to play. It's Lucas, sitting casually in a luxurious room, surrounded by people. They're laughing, counting money, and reviewing photos of various women. Victim 214, Martha Sanders. Married, 38, nurse, emotionally isolated. Target value, $700,000. Martha's stomach lurches. Her photo flashes on the screen. They'd planned everything, from the move-in date to the first smile across the lawn. Every word, every touch, every kiss. All scripted. Her hands shake violently as the screen flickers again, now showing Tom's face, filmed secretly through her own phone camera. "He doesn't know yet," Lucas says on video. "But soon, he will." The screen fades to black. Then one final line appears. "You're next." If you're still breathing after that twist, hit like right now and subscribe. When police arrived that night, Martha Sanders was gone. Her car was still in the driveway. Her phone lay shattered on the kitchen floor. And the only sign of a struggle was a single bloody handprint on the wall. Days turned into a week. No sign of Martha. Detective Green's investigation led him to Lucas's abandoned house. The rooms were stripped bare, except one. In the basement, under a false floorboard, they found a network router, 5 fake passports, and a burner phone still receiving messages. On the screen. Shipment complete. Target neutralized. Green's jaw tightened. He dialed Interpol immediately. They moved faster than we thought. Lucas wasn't just part of a scam ring. He was one of the recruiters. US-based. 2 days later, Tom receives a package on his doorstep. No return address. Inside, a flash drive. He plugs it into the TV. The footage begins. Martha, tied to a chair in a dimly lit room. Her eyes are swollen from crying. A man's voice, familiar yet cold, speaks off camera. "Do you still love me, Martha?" She sobs. "Lucas, please. Just let me go." He steps into the light. But this time, his accent is gone. He speaks with a perfect American voice. "My name isn't Lucas. It's Eric Novak." Eric Novak wasn't from Prague. He was a US citizen, a wanted cyberfraud agent who worked for a Nigerian, European criminal syndicate, helping them recruit victims across the states. But what Martha never knew was that Eric wasn't acting alone. Detective Green soon uncovered records linking Tom Sanders, Martha's husband, to multiple offshore accounts tied to the same syndicate. The discovery shattered everything. Could Tom, the loyal husband, have been part of it all along? The deeper Green dug, the clearer the horror became. Tom had financial ties to the same shell companies that Lucas, Eric, used. He'd been embezzling money from his firm, using Martha's identity to move funds overseas. The affair with Lucas wasn't an accident. It was orchestrated. They'd chosen Martha because her name, her profession, and her trust were useful, the perfect cover for laundering money through her nursing charity. The fake romance wasn't about love. It was about making her the scapegoat. By the time the truth surfaced, the gang had already moved millions under her name. There's a knock at the door. Tom opens it to find Detective Green standing there, holding a file. "We need to talk." Inside the file, bank statements, offshore transfers, and one last video. Green plays it. In the footage, Eric Novak turns the camera on himself. "The money's moved. The mission's done. But you know what's funny? She really thought I loved her. Poor woman." He smirks. "Tell your boss, his wife was more loyal than he ever deserved." Green looks at Tom. "Boss." Tom's face drains of color. "It wasn't supposed to go this far," he whispers. "They said she wouldn't get hurt." Green's voice hardens. "You used your own wife as bait for a scam operation." Tom drops to his knees. "I didn't know they'd kill her." 2 weeks later, police trace a signal from one of Lucas's, Eric's, devices to a warehouse outside Baltimore. Inside, they find a laptop still recording. A video is playing on loop. It's Martha. Her face calm. Her voice steady. "If anyone sees this, please, tell my daughter I'm sorry. I loved him once, but love blinded me. And now, I see what it really was." Behind her, a shadow moves, then the screen cuts to black. Detective Green closes the laptop slowly. "We may never know if she's alive," he says quietly. "But one thing's certain, she wasn't the first. And she won't be the last." A new family moves into Martha's old house. A little boy runs across the yard, chasing a ball. Across the street, a moving truck pulls in. A man steps out. Dark jacket. Sunglasses. He smiles politely at the neighbors. "Hi there. I'm Eric. Nice to meet you." He always finds another house. Another name. Another heart to break. Because in the world of digital love, the deadliest predators live next door. Love, betrayal, and greed. 3 words that destroy more lives than any weapon ever could. Martha's story reminds us, not everyone who smiles at you is safe, and not every "I love you" comes from a beating heart.